Daniel Brooks had spent 3 peaceful years rebuilding his life after divorcing his ex-wife, Rebecca. Their marriage had ended respectfully, without betrayal or bitterness, simply because they wanted different futures. Though the relationship ended, Daniel remained grateful for the lessons it had taught him. He focused on work, friendships, and quietly moving forward with optimism. One cold autumn evening, Daniel heard an unexpected knock on his front door. Standing outside with 2 suitcases and tearful eyes was Rebecca's younger sister, Emily. She looked exhausted after hours of crying. Daniel immediately sensed something terrible had happened and gently invited her inside without asking uncomfortable questions first. Emily wrapped her hands around a warm mug of tea while sitting quietly at the kitchen table. After several silent moments, she finally whispered, "My engagement is over." Her voice cracked as fresh tears filled her eyes. Daniel listened patiently, allowing her time instead of rushing her through painful emotions that clearly overwhelmed her. She explained that only weeks before the wedding, her fiancé admitted he wasn't ready for marriage. Months of promises disappeared in a single conversation, leaving Emily heartbroken and completely unprepared. She had already given up her apartment, expecting to move into their new home together after the ceremony ended. Daniel nodded with quiet understanding. Losing future plans sometimes hurt even more than losing people. Emily stared down at her untouched tea before softly adding, "I have nowhere left to go." The words carried far more weight than simple logistics. They revealed fear, uncertainty, and the loneliness accompanying shattered expectations and broken dreams. Without hesitation, Daniel smiled kindly. "You'll stay here until you figure everything out," he replied. Emily looked surprised. "Are you sure? I'm your ex-wife's sister." Daniel shrugged gently. "You're also someone who needs help. That's more important than complicated family history." Relief washed across her face immediately as gratitude replaced embarrassment. The guest room had collected little more than dust over recent months. Daniel quickly prepared clean sheets, extra blankets, and fresh towels before giving Emily privacy to rest. For the first time that difficult day, she felt safe enough to breathe deeply without pretending everything was somehow still under control despite recent heartbreak. The following morning, Daniel cooked pancakes while Emily quietly unpacked only a few essentials. Though sadness remained visible, she smiled after smelling breakfast drifting through the house. They ate together without discussing the engagement. Instead, they laughed about childhood stories, favorite travel destinations, and amusing kitchen disasters that somehow lightened the heavy atmosphere. Over the next several weeks, Emily slowly rebuilt her confidence. She updated her resume, searched for apartments, and attended job interviews. Daniel encouraged her without becoming overprotective. His support never felt like pity. Instead, he treated her as someone temporarily facing hardship rather than someone permanently defined by painful circumstances and disappointment. One Saturday afternoon, they volunteered together at a neighborhood food bank. Watching families help one another reminded Emily that kindness still existed despite personal heartbreak. She noticed Daniel speaking warmly with strangers, carrying heavy boxes without complaint, and quietly encouraging nervous volunteers who doubted whether their small contributions truly made any meaningful difference. Driving home afterward, Emily admitted something she had quietly noticed. "You always make people feel important," she said thoughtfully. Daniel laughed modestly. "Everyone deserves that." His simple response lingered in her thoughts. She realized genuine character revealed itself most clearly through ordinary actions rather than dramatic gestures or impressive promises spoken during perfect moments. Several months passed before Rebecca unexpectedly called Daniel. She thanked him sincerely for helping Emily during such a difficult chapter. Daniel explained there had never been anything complicated about the decision. Family connections changed after divorce, but compassion never required legal paperwork or convenient circumstances. Rebecca appreciated his kindness more than words could adequately express. Emily eventually found a teaching position at a local elementary school and rented a comfortable apartment nearby. Moving day felt very different from her previous experience. This time, hope replaced uncertainty. Daniel helped carry furniture upstairs, assembled bookshelves, and hung framed family photographs across freshly painted walls until the unfamiliar apartment gradually felt welcoming and personal. After unpacking the final box, they ordered takeout and sat comfortably on the living room floor. Emily looked around proudly before smiling at Daniel. "When I knocked on your door that night, I thought my life had completely fallen apart." Daniel nodded gently, remembering the fear visible in her exhausted expression. Emily continued quietly. "Now I realize something ended because something healthier needed room to begin." Daniel smiled warmly. Heartbreak rarely made immediate sense, yet time often revealed opportunities hidden beneath painful endings. Sometimes losing carefully planned futures allowed unexpected blessings to quietly enter lives that once seemed permanently broken beyond meaningful repair or hope. As winter turned into spring, their friendship naturally deepened. They explored hiking trails, attended community festivals, and encouraged one another through ordinary challenges. Nothing felt forced, because trust had developed slowly through consistency rather than excitement. They valued honest conversations, shared laughter, and the peaceful comfort of simply enjoying everyday life together without unrealistic expectations. One evening, while walking beside a quiet lake, Emily stopped unexpectedly. "Can I tell you something honestly?" she asked. Daniel nodded. She smiled nervously before admitting, "You showed me what real kindness looks like. I spent years chasing impressive promises. I never realized dependable compassion mattered infinitely more than beautiful words alone." Daniel looked thoughtfully across the water before answering. "Kindness isn't extraordinary. It should simply be normal." Emily smiled softly. "Maybe that's why it feels extraordinary when someone truly lives it every day." Neither rushed the conversation further. Some feelings deserved patience instead of immediate conclusions or dramatic declarations under beautiful evening skies and gentle breezes. Months later, friends often commented on how naturally they supported one another, whether helping neighbors, volunteering together, or simply sharing coffee on quiet mornings. Their connection reflected genuine respect first and romance second. That order mattered because lasting relationships rarely survived on excitement alone without friendship providing steady foundations beneath every future challenge life presented. Looking back, Emily often remembered standing outside Daniel's front door carrying 2 suitcases and believing everything important had ended forever. Instead, that painful evening became the beginning of healing, hope, unexpected friendship, and eventually love. Sometimes the place we never expected to find comfort becomes exactly where life quietly begins again.